Let me answer that question. I know you're going to ask right off the bat. Yes, this game is basically a visually updated, slightly less balanced Left 4 Dead 1. Review over. There we go. What? Oh, you want me to actually give a deep dive into the game and learn why I said that? Gosh dang, I guess I can do that for y'all if you want. But we know if you're clicking on this video, you guys want to know what I have to say. I'm the Floor Hooker from Level 1 Gaming. And before we get into the video, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps with the algorithm, and we appreciate it more than you guys know. You're awesome, and I love you. Back 4 Blood is a Warner Brothers Games published game and a Turtle Rock Studios developed co-op first-person shooter zombie game. It's available on the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 5 and 4, and PC through the Microsoft Store, Steam Store, Epic Store, and Game Pass today on the 12th. With crossplay enabled. Ooh, that crossplay. When games don't have crossplay now, I get a little sad. And that's where I played it, on PC. You might have heard of Turtle Rock Studios. They are the, little creators of Left 4 Dead 1 and Evolve. I also want to thank Warner Brothers Games and Turtle Rock for the Ultimate Edition Early Access code provided for this review. Back 4 Blood is set after an outbreak has left humanity on the edge. We wouldn't know anything about that in 2021, would we? Nothing like the dollar bill flu from the Division 1 has happened in the last 2 years. No. Anyway, most of humanity is dead or infected with a parasite called devil worm, such a sinister name. Civilization has been overrun, and the Ridden, which are the in-game names for the zombies, are hellbent on wiping out the last bit of humanity. You think if they wipe out humanity, they would have nothing to feed on. War-hardened and ready for the fight, the Cleaners, which is us, are our last hope to stop the Ridden, fight back, and reclaim the world. Before we get into this review, I want to point out that while all the issues from the beta, audio issues I should say, from the beta have been fixed, there is some copyright music in this game, and Turtle Rock themselves, at least the influencer and community manager, I think, has put out a statement, and I want to read that out to you guys right quick here. So Alyssa, or at Miss Alyssa Berry, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, says, attention creators, if you are planning on streaming or planning on having VOD content of Back 4 Blood, this is important. The jukebox, which is encountered fairly early in the game, has licensed music that will be playing. They do not own the streaming rights for the songs, and make sure to turn off your music, basically. That's a nice big warning that should have been there. Make sure to go to that tweet if you plan on streaming or having VOD content with any of the sound up, and there is a thread on how to disable it in there. Now, major oversight aside, I started on the recruit difficulty. Difficulty levels range from recruit to nightmare, which brings a whole bunch of new challenges like turning friendly fire on, but you'll get more rewards from it. Now, before you judge me, because I can hear some of you fingers clacking away on the keyboards, I know this game, or knew this game, had an AI controller or game director, because that's what they call it here, and I know how punishing and improperly imbalanced, let me say that again, improperly imbalanced, because that's going to come up a few times, improperly imbalanced game director can get. So I started on the recruit difficulty to see what the director was going to offer, and I'm really glad I did. My squad and I either got cornered tons, or tons of enemies were dropped on us, or we just taken down multiple times for sometimes felt like no reason. The amount of times I went down with nearly full health is kind of nuts. Ironically, I've been playing a ton of zombie and kind of horror games lately, the latest being a Zombie Army 4 Dead War. So I've been tuned into that mindset to keep going, stop and look down, something might be biting at your ankles. And I've been in that mindset, and I was still taken out a lot of times in this game. It also didn't help that I was playing with randoms. This is a friend squad type of game. Now, not to be harsh to them, I actually met some dang cool people playing. There was one time when the game crashed and the person added me because they're like, I had fun playing with you at 2 a.m. I want to keep playing. So I've met some dang cool people on this game, but there's others. And if you're this person, or if you don't know this person, then you're this person. But there was others that wouldn't wait for the team. And then they would get hurt to be too far away for one of us to pick them up or for me to heal them. And then they would quit like it was the 3 other people that stuck together's fault, like they were the problem. You need to stick together here. It's easy to get cornered and swarmed, and There's so many environmental hazards that it's better to stay together. As the slogan say, stay together, slay together. I was so excited to dive into this on day one. I started in the solo campaign so I could slow down, try things out, listen to the audio, write notes down, do my dang reviewer thing. However, not only did I forget there's no pausing, even in solo, I didn't know the solo campaigns won't unlock anything. And the game doesn't tell you that, or maybe I just missed it, which is totally possible. You don't unlock the 4 other characters, you don't unlock supply line points, you don't unlock anything. And then you may ask, what is the solo campaign for? You can play to learn the maps, you can learn where loot can spawn, and it says the game director changes where loot spawns and copper spawns, but I found through multiple runs of a couple, levels that it usually stays in the same area. You do unlock those areas if you play them in the solo campaign, so you can start a run from that area, but you can also do that through normal play on co-op. It's been noted by the devs that they're working on a fix for it, but it's kind of outrageous to me that the game launched where solo campaign doesn't equate, like you have to be playing online for the game to matter. And maybe your friends are busy that day, or maybe your friends don't have this game. Solo campaign is just as valid as multiplayer campaign, and that is a huge oversight for me. Not only is it a huge oversight, it's also something that is frustrating because I figured out after 5 hours of playing the campaign. Now I can already hear you saying you should have figured it out when no achievements triggered. However, I reviewed games that are even like this, that are in early access, that don't have the achievements unlocked yet, and they won't unlock it until a global launch. And they do that so it won't give things away. I know the achievement list was already posted, but sometimes they do things like that. And honestly, I thought I was doing something wrong with the game. And with it not being fully out, I couldn't just look up if I was doing something wrong or if I broke the game. It wasn't until the next day where I walked away because I was angry. And I went to sleep, and then I redove into the online co-op, and the achievements started rolling in. There definitely needs to be a permanent warning until they quote-unquote fix it, which I don't know what that even means, in the description on the solo screen that says, hey, this mode basically means nothing. It's just for fun. You don't get achievements, you don't unlock anything, you just play for fun. Anyways, the frustration of that aside, once I figured it out and started playing on the online co-op, I quickly found my 2 favorite characters. There's Mom. She's the hard-ass, no-nonsense semi-leader, at least leader in the cutscenes. She's a leader there. She's the leader of your ragtag group who provides instant revives and the team extra life. My other favorite character was Doc, who can heal without items. You know how important that is? I love it. And she provides the team with some trauma resistance. Trauma is a harder to heal type of damage. It's semi-permanent that takes away from your health bar. The only way I found to heal trauma is red wall-mounted health boxes, and I don't know what causes more trauma in people than others. Jeez, sounds like a sentence that should be brought to a therapist. Anyway, I would definitely went healer heavy here, and most times I was the only one to. Now, healers aren't super important in the difficulty I played in, because most people will be carrying health items, and if you spend some copper at the shop, you can maybe buy an extra upgrade slot so you can carry 2 items, so you're pretty good. But it is nice to have somebody who can heal you or who can revive you quickly that doesn't use supplies. That is more important than you realize, because it's not a matter if, it's when people are going to go down. Now, I didn't use all the characters I had in my time, unfortunately, because either 90% of the time they were chosen, or B, I'm like, we need somebody that has some healing in here. All 8 of the characters have their own perks, cards, and unique starting items, and so there's so many deck combos you can build as well that you don't have to be pigeonholed into a certain playstyle with a certain character. You can play the way you want with anybody. I think the most interesting and confusing thing when this game was announced was the deck system. Now that I have time into the game and have explored the deck building, I can say it's a fancy name for a modifier system. It's not building a Gwent deck, it's not building a Hearthstone deck, it's a modifier system. We've seen something like this in Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think even Tomb Raider 2013 had some cards, but I know a couple other games have had it. That's all I can think off the top of my head. Some cards are positive through and through and will give you just benefits galore. Some cards are great, but have some hefty cost to them, so you have to pick and choose what you want. Cards range from offensive to defensive to everything in between. Do you want a card that won't have enemies slowing you when they hit you? Yeah, there's probably a card for that. Do you want a card that multiplies your copper? There's probably several cards for that. There's no wrong way to build your 15 card deck. And there's even some starter, like pre-built decks that if you like what's in there, you can use those decks as much as you want. The game director will also give you some negative modifiers or corruption cards at the start of every run. Decks work on a draw system, so the order that you build is the order that it's drawn from. With a little pre-planning and thought, will need to go into just how you want your deck to be. And you'll start with a limited number of cards that can be unlocked through supply points, can be found or bought with copper in world as well. And copper is used in the store at the start of the levels, or start of the runs I should say, and can be found in world by exploring. You can also earn copper by completing secondary objectives and having cards in your deck, like I already talked about, that can multiply those copper earnings. Secondary objectives just could be from killing a boss to finding a blood sample to carry back to the safe room, or whatever the game decides to throw at you for that run. It's always different. The shop is your one chance to spend all that built up copper to pick up any health, weapons, attachments, and other goodies you may want before you start the run. You can also pick up team upgrades, so you can get an extra quick slot, you can get an extra item upgrade, you can get extra health, stamina, whatever you need, you can pick it up at the store if it's there in that run, because it randomizes every time. You can also have cards that stack. I like to stack my stamina cards, so by the end of that little section we're in, or whenever we decide to stop the run, I usually have 4 or 5 stamina cards, so we should never be really running out of stamina. After a run, you will get supply points that are used in the supply line at Fort Hope. Fort Hope is just your home base. Don't forget there is a very easy achievement that can be missed. You have to assemble a squad at Fort Hope. Don't miss that achievement. But supply lines unlock rewards for more cards or customization items, all that jazz. I've yet to see if they unlock weapon skins and character outfits, as I'm just not far enough as I need to be in some of those supply lines, because I'll be honest, if I'm on a roll and I'm just doing runs, I kind of forget supply lines exist. And while the devs have stated that there may be microtransactions in the future, right now I'm going to assume that since there's no microtransactions, that is going to be the spot to get all your weapon skins, unless they can be picked up in world, but I don't think that's possible. So I'm going to say supply lines for now is going to be where you can pick up all your cosmetic items. There are so many types of ridden that no matter which type of zombie you fancy mowing down, there's something for everybody. There's exploders, stingers, stalkers, snitches even, not the snitches you're thinking of, and more, all of whom can cause various types of damage and trauma to your team. There are also tons of environmental things that can cause harm, like flocks of crows that can cause hordes, car alarms that can also draw hordes, and that doesn't even include the things that you have to set off yourself, or maybe accidentally or on purpose, that can draw a horde. Sometimes it feels like the game director is out to get you, to get everyone you know, and everyone you've ever loved. Back 4 Blood is a game where you need to keep moving. Now, this does not mean you need to rush through, because most of the times you won't have the stamina to, or the ridden hitting you will slow you down, but that means you just need to keep going. You can collect all the copper, all the other goodies you want, but you mustn't linger. Enemies will constantly spawn even when you quote-unquote clear an area out, and it feels like the longer you sit in an area, the more red or special enemies spawn. It's a good thing those special enemies have red glowing areas on them that just scream shoot me, otherwise some of them would be a chore to take down. This also brings me to my second, I guess, big issue with Back 4 Blood. It's the balancing. My first was the solo campaign, and next is the balancing with the AI director. While not unfair most times, it's very easy to get cornered and overwhelmed, and the game will spawn 4, 5 special enemies in succession or together sometimes. for no rhyme or reason. And while they do have those noticeable weak points, they're all trying to bash your head in, or burn you, or spit acid on you, or crush you. There's no rhyme or reason for spawning some of those special enemies. It's very confusing why they spawn so many of them sometimes, especially on Recruit difficulty. Don't forget, I'm not playing hard. Recruit should be a walk in the park. Luckily, this seems like a super easy fix for Turtle Rock Studio, especially since this was part of Left 4 Dead, and the game came out in 2008, and this is out in 2021, and it had a similar system in it. Overall, the AI could be better, especially in solo play. They aren't terrible, they just feel like they needed to be herded everywhere, and I know they're designed to be close to you and your team, but they really do get in the way, especially when friendly fire is turned on. However, when playing with others is when I saw the AI really start to show its flaws. For me, the AI should have 2 goals: to pick you up when you go down and shoot everything. And in solo, they do it well, they don't do it fantastic. But playing with others, it's like they don't know you if they've never met you, they don't know who you are, they don't care about you. So many times the bots would walk by me when I was down, or not unpin me when I was stuck. And maybe I've been spoiled by playing Avengers so much and how those bots' first mission is to come pick you up, but I expect more from bots in 2021. The one guy I was playing with said that you have to ping them to do actions, and I'll have to test that out, but if I'm in the middle of getting my head almost taken off, I'm not concerned about or even thinking about pinging bots to help or help pick me up. They just kind of need to do better, and I'm expecting them to do better. There is also a nice PvP for those looking for a challenge and to put their skills to the test with real people. Swarm mode is the PvP section of Back 4 Blood. 2 squads of 4 will face off against each other in the best of 3 matches. Teams are divided between cleaners and the ridden. Each round has more perks, upgrades, and each side will get some unique weapons and abilities. I'll be honest, I only played a handful of matches. It's not my favorite mode. I really don't pick up a game like this to play PvP, but I can see tons of people liking it, if not loving it. It does remove all of the AI balancing issues because you're not fighting a computer, hopefully. If you've made it this far, let's have a code word. The code word will be B4B. So B, the letter B, the number 4, and B. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps with the algorithm. But I'm gonna stop shilling. Let's get into the rest of this review. One thing about this game that I endearingly love is the gunplay. Sounds weird to say gunplay. Feels so solid and good with my mouse and keyboard. This is not a game I'm going to play with controller. That's just not the way I want to play this game, so I can't even speak on the controller side. The animations for each weapon are solid, unique, and on point. Even when you have a card that speeds up the reload animation, it never feels like a little janky, because you know sometimes when you speed up certain animations, they look a little janky. This feels good. When you crouch, there's also a nice tilting the guns to the side animation, although who's really going to be crouching a lot of times? This was never a point of contention for me, even through the beta. It was something I really did enjoy in Back 4 Blood. On PC, I don't know if it's on console, there is an option to return to the point you started shooting when you let go of the trigger. It's not an aim assist or a recoil compensation. Maybe it is a recoil. No, it isn't. I would call it a recentering mechanic, and it just helps to bring the gun back to where you started shooting, and I did really like that, because you're going to be spam shooting a lot most times, and it helps to be at least close to your target. Back 4 Blood has an immense variety of weapons as well, from something... There's really no weapon that you won't find that you won't be able to use. No weapon is also locked from anyone to use, and each weapon sounds so good. To be fair, most of the time you're not paying attention to what the gun sounds like, or the ridden trying to smack the crap out of you, but they do sound good when you're in the range at Fort Hope. Most times I found myself not buying any weapons in the shop as well, and praying I found some good sniper or assault rifles mid-run, and sometimes it worked out for me, other times not so much, but it's taking a gamble. Players can see the whole offering of weapons at the range at Fort Hope, and there is an offering, a smattering, if you will. You can also test them out with whatever, attachments and goodies you want at that range too. There's tons of There's tons of pistols, there's tons of melee, shotguns, rifles, sniper rifles, assault rifles, just tons, throwables. You can see it all at Fort Hope. With the variety of weapons and characters, there must be a way to make it your own and add some spice. Each weapon and each character has a minimum of 3 customization options. Again, since the dev stated right now that their microtransactions may come in the future, everything at this time of writing, talking, reviewing this game should be able to be unlocked through natural play. There's a few customization options like banners, sprays, and titles. And again, everything should be unlocked through natural play, and the stuff I unlocked was through natural play and also the Ultimate Edition goodies that came with it. There are also 3 planned DLCs that the Ultimate Code is going to give me access to, so if you'd like to see me review those, let me know. Anyway, Total Rock is making a bold and frankly a much needed decision with the rollout of these DLCs. This is one of the decisions I can get behind here. Essentially, if you party up with someone who has the DLC content and they are the leader of the party, as long as you stay with them, you'll also be able to access the content whether you own it or not. Now, again, this is a decision I can get behind. Now we're getting to the end of this big old lengthy boy, that's what she said, but there's some minor things you should know. Some things that weren't worth a whole ramble and rave, so let me just get through these quick. Back 4 Blood, it tells you right off the bat that the voice chat is monitored. Right on first launch it tells you that. It's for moderation's sake, and I know most people will be in parties or groups on Discord, and it won't matter much, but it's something you guys should know. You also can't fully turn it off. You can just put push to talk on and you can mute the players in the starting lobbies, but you can't turn the voice chat fully off. For those that care about anti-cheat software and how good the anti-cheat software is going to be for Back 4 Blood, they're using Easy Anti-Cheat. It's a name you guys probably have heard but don't really notice. It's seen on a ton of Ubisoft games. I think even I know it's used in Tom Clancy games. Division definitely has it. It's either Easy Anti-Cheat or BattleEye that Ubisoft uses, but you can also see Easy A. I'm going to call it Easy A because my brain doesn't want to think of anything else. You've seen it in Apex, you're going to see it in Battlefield 2042, you've seen it in Dauntless and Halo Master Chief Collection, just to name a few. I also did have a few connection issues and the game even crashed once, like Fatal Error crash where I had to restart my PC type of crash. However, once I was in the game there was no noticeable lag with crossplay turned on, which is something I definitely want to see. And lastly, it's 2021 and you couldn't go into the water. I thought I was playing Assassin's Creed 1. You'll either die instantly if you're in solo play, which then gives you the option to take over a bot's body, which is still weird to me, or you'll hang there if you're playing with other people and wait for somebody to pick you up. Now, I rambled on for quite a while about Back 4 Blood, and if you're watching and you found the code word, make sure to leave it in the description. And if you guys want to see me do more of reviews like this or even retrospectives, you can find me at level1gaming.com or here on Level 1 channel. You can also find me on my personal channel at The Floor Hugger, where I have more retrospectives and goodies. So give your girl some thumbs up. But what's the future for Back 4 Blood? I think the major thing that's gonna hinder this game is the same thing that hindered Evolve, the previous game they made that ironically almost put them out of business, and it's the price. It's a minimum of $80 here in Canada. I know it's $60 in the States, and that's just the standard edition, with the Ultimate Edition costing $130. While it's fun, if this wasn't on Game Pass, if I didn't get the code before this, but if this wasn't on Game Pass, half the people I will be playing with when this launches won't be playing, and that would have included myself. This is a game that I struggle to recommend to people even though I had fun playing it. I think with both Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 still being viable, fun games and still being half the price for both of them, that this is, and Tom Clancy's Extraction coming out soon, which is almost the same, not the same kind of premise, but same squad mechanics, same things to do, this is going to struggle to find its place on the market eventually. It's a visually impressive game that only had a few visual glitches, but looks can only get you so far. Don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted, I had tons of fun playing this game, even with the frustrating players, but that's standard for a multiplayer game, and the balancing issues and the downright repetitive gameplay. I had tons of fun, and I'll continue to have fun, because my squad is going to be on today, and I'll play the DLCs, but I also know I'm very fortunate to have gotten a code where most people won't. I can't let the fun I had with a free code, and not only free code, the free ultimate code, cloud my judgment. And I'll be honest when I say that you'll more than likely want to wait for this game. Unless you have Game Pass. Wait for a sale. This is a fun game, but it's not a $60 to $80 game. At least, not yet. And if they bring in microtransactions, my opinion of it's probably going to drop even more. I feel the same way with Avengers. Avengers should not be that price. Outriders should not be that price. They should be free. This should be a free game, or at least half the price. But this is just my humble thoughts. If you guys have played the game, are going to play the game, or, you know, everything in between, let me know in the comments section below. Go ahead and play this game if you want. I'm not trying to deter you from the game. I'm trying to inform you of the experience I had. And today could be a whole bunch and a whole lot different. So stay together, slay together. Follow LV1 Gaming. Yep. Follow LV1 Gaming. That's all I gotta say. No, I'm kidding. Follow LV1 Gaming for more awesome reviews, awesome content. We're just trying to entertain you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us with the algorithm. And you guys are awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next review. I'm the Floor Hugger, and I'm out.